Good morning from Ottawa, Canada's CAV capital. Bonjour tout le monde. What a fitting introduction to drive the future of public transportation, a special online event hosted by AreaX.O, the futureplex of innovation and collaboration operated by Invest Ottawa with so many partners today. My name is Sonia Shorey. I have the privilege of serving as the Vice President Strategy, Marketing and Communications for Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. It is such a pleasure to welcome you today, together many dignitaries, innovation champions, partners, and representatives from industry, academia, government, and our innovation and investment community. Today, we are together to celebrate a first for Ontario and Canada's capital. Together with all of our partners, we officially begin the first on-road electric, low-speed, automated shuttle trial of its kind here in Ontario. And there's a few snowflakes falling outside my window, so our weather is certainly a competitive advantage to testing in absolutely every single type of condition. Building on the unique capabilities of AreaX.O, innovators and firms across the capital, this trial supports the development, validation, and safe implementation of future transportation solutions. Innovations such as this are at the heart of our mandate. We are so excited to help innovators from diverse sectors and scientific disciplines to seize big opportunities and tackle grand challenges. And this project does just that. It brings together Ottawa entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs with top talent and novel technology, multinationals with global reach and global opportunity, visionary leaders from all levels of government, and you, our community. It really brings together the best of what Ottawa, Ontario, and Canada have to offer the world. And it will take such collaboration to drive the future and our economic recovery. And it's the very type of innovation and collaboration that underpins AreaX.O. Before we begin, we would like to extend sincere thanks to all the following founding and anchor public and private sector partners who support our facility and the many entrepreneurs and firms we serve. These include the Government of Canada, including FedDev Ontario, the Government of Ontario through the AV Innovation Network delivered by the Ontario Centres of Excellence, the City of Ottawa, founding industry partners including Accenture, BlackBerry QNX, Ericsson, Juniper Networks, the National Capital Commission, Microsoft, and Nokia. Founding research partners are outstanding post-secondary institutions, Algonquin College, Carleton University, La Cité Collégiale, University of Ottawa, and our first sponsor, FCC. Together, the greatest innovators in Ottawa and across Canada, we are driving the future. And we're very grateful to have the opportunity to celebrate with you safely through our virtual community today. We are going to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather together is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. And a few housekeeping notes before we launch our online program. Health and safety is our top priority, and it is our driver for our virtual celebration today. We thank everyone for following the critical guidelines and protocols established by our health authorities to help preserve the safe and healthy of our community. We've muted all participants and attendees to avoid background noise and any disruptions. We thank you for keeping your microphone muted throughout the program when you are not speaking. The formal speaking portion will include an online media scrum today. For media that are joining us, we ask you to please display your name and ensure that it is updated to reflect your outlet as well. I look forward to moderating that media portion directly following the opening remarks at about 9:30 a.m. And we will wrap up our program today with a panel discussion that brings together many of the government and industry partners delivering this innovative project, the first of its kind to be approved in Ontario. You may also notice that we are recording our program today. We are also live streaming it via Invest Ottawa's Facebook Live. It's now my great honor to welcome the Honourable Catherine McKenna, Minister of Infrastructure and Communities and Member of Parliament for Ottawa Centre, the riding of Bayview Yards and Tunney's Pasture, to our virtual stage today. Minister McKenna.
Well, thank you very much, Sonia. I had to laugh. You know what, this morning it seems pretty gray outside, but this announcement's so great that I think that it can get us very excited about the future for Ottawa. It's great to be here. I see Mayor Jim Watson, my favorite mayor of Ottawa, I see Minister Mulroney. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, Michael Tremblay and Sonia from Invest Ottawa and Bayview Innovation Yards. It's amazing. We have so many great announcements. It's great to be following up on an announcement just a few weeks ago about Area X.O. Unfortunately, we do not have my favorite astronaut, Marc Garneau, here. Minister Garneau wasn't able to join, but I know he's very excited about this new milestone. He's all about, exceeding new frontiers. So he would love to be here. But I think more broadly, I think demonstrates how critical and how important it is to our government to look at the future of autonomous, of electric vehicles, and how this is a huge opportunity for Ottawa to be not just a leader here in Ontario or in Canada, but to be a global leader. Look, we're still very much in the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's been extremely challenging. And I know it's been extremely challenging on our economy, on our entrepreneurs, and on the business community. I do want to say, though, a huge thanks to everyone in Ottawa that have been extremely resilient, innovating, looking at how do we not only get through this pandemic, but also how do we reimagine the future? How do we build back better? And that's certainly a key focus of mine. As Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, I'm always looking at how do we use the dollars that we're investing, taxpayer dollars, to get multiple outcomes, which is jobs and economic growth, which is action on climate change. This is very much a climate story as well. And also building more inclusive communities. And we know public transit, how important it is to inclusivity, that the folks often taking public transit are essential workers, our parents getting to and from schools, are women with kids, and are people who can't afford other modes of transportation. You might be wondering what I've been up to. My focus has really been moving forward on projects. We've approved 700 projects since the pandemic started. That's $1 billion in federal funding. And I was very pleased to see last week that Premier Ford, with a number of ministers, announced the COVID-19 stream. That's something that we've been waiting on for provinces and territories to announce as soon as possible, because we need to get construction started. The federal government recognizes how challenging it is for folks. So we are putting in 80 cents of every dollar through the COVID-19 stream. And we've also expanded it to cover school retrofits, long-term care retrofits, and of course, continuing to move forward on community centers, which are desperately needed across Ontario, but including here in Ottawa. Certainly hope that we are able to get construction going this season. But let's talk about today. C'est excellent que Zone X.O accueille le premier essai de navette automatique électrique à faible vitesse de ce type en Ontario, au cœur d'Ottawa, le centre technologique mondial du Canada, reconnu du monde entier. It is really great that Area X.O will host the first electric low-speed automated shuttle trial of its kind in Ontario, in the heart of Ottawa, Canada's internationally recognized global tech hub. Notre gouvernement s'est engagé à développer, valider et mettre en œuvre en toute sécurité des technologies de pointe, notamment des solutions de transport à faible émission de carbone. Ces véhicules ont le potentiel d'améliorer la vie de nos citoyens, de créer de nouveaux débouchés commerciaux pour nos entreprises et de nous aider à nous diriger vers un avenir à faible émission de carbone. That our government is committed to the development, validation, and safe implementation of leading-edge technologies, including low-carbon transportation solutions. When you think about it, these vehicles have the potential to enhance the lives of our citizens, create new market opportunities for our companies, and help us move to a low-carbon future. I really want to recognize the importance of these efforts by Area X.O, Transport Canada, and the City of Ottawa to launch this program, which will perform a variety of tests in real-world transit conditions. And I'll say, as the Member of Parliament for Ottawa Centre, it's extremely gratifying to see these electric automated shuttles operate through Tunney's pasture, right here in my riding. And when I look at the names of the partners, the long list, which I won't even try to repeat, it's bringing together world-class leaders in the industry. It's bringing local organizations, local businesses, innovators to provide safe and reliable transportation for riders where public transportation does not currently exist. And we know, look, transit is so critical to the people of Ottawa, that we've seen in COVID-19 how important it is to get essential workers to work, how to get, to restart our economy, to get people to their jobs, to get kids to school. And we know we're going to get out of COVID-19, and we have to be thinking about how we build a cleaner and more sustainable future. Public transit is critical to that. That is one of my top priorities as Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, to build public transit across the country, including right here in Ottawa. And when we think about our future, more resilient and connected communities from coast to coast to coast is so critically important. And I really want to thank Invest Ottawa, as well as the City of Ottawa, for showing real leadership and helping us to keep pace, not only, but to put Ottawa on the forefront of transit innovation. This follows the $7 million announcement by FedDev Ontario to help launch Invest Ottawa's Area X.0 autonomous vehicles. That if you think about this, this is part of a strategy for the government, for Canada to be a global leader for electric vehicles, including in the supply chain, as well as the innovation side. I want to thank everyone for being here, and I not only look forward to the success of the first on-road automated shuttle trial in Ontario, I look forward to trying it out sometime myself. I know this is going to shape the future of public transit, but it's also how we're creating jobs, how we're fostering innovation, how we're building a cleaner and more inclusive future for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister McKenna. Great words and inspiration. Thank you for all of your contributions to our community. It's now my great honor to introduce the Honorable Carolyn Mulroney, Minister of Transportation and Minister of Francophone Affairs for the Government of Ontario. Welcome to our community, Minister.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. It's a pleasure to join you all today, especially with Minister McKenna, His Worship, Jim Watson, and Michael Tremblay. On behalf of the Government of Ontario, I'd like to congratulate Invest Ottawa and Easy Mile on reaching this significant milestone. The testing of these two electronic automated vehicles on public roads is an exciting step forward for AVs in Ontario. And I'd also like to congratulate the Easy Mile team on being the first participant in Ontario's AV pilot program to reach this stage of progress. Ontario, as you know, continues to be a leading jurisdiction in developing, testing, and deploying connected and automated vehicle technology. L'Ontario continue d'être une juridiction de premier plan dans le développement, l'essai et le déploiement de la technologie des véhicules connectés et automatisés. AV driverless testing is permitted under Ontario's AV pilot framework under strict conditions, and my ministry is responsible for approving pilot participants, a role that we are very proud to play. And it's great to see this project using Ottawa's Area X.0 testing facilities, which the province supported through Ontario's Autonomous Vehicle Innovation Network. Having a safe and secure environment to develop, test, and demonstrate future mobility and CVAV technologies is so critical. And I think that we can all agree that this is a pivotal time in the history of transportation. In the future, transportation and mobility will be more convenient, more integrated, and more connected than ever before. And our province needs to be ready. And that's why our government is working with innovative organizations like Easy Mile and Invest Ottawa, who are helping to make Ontario a global leader in the auto tech sector. À l'avenir, les transports et la mobilité seront plus pratiques, plus intégrés et plus connectés que jamais. Et notre province doit être prête. C'est pourquoi notre gouvernement travaille avec des organisations innovantes comme Easy Mile et Investir Ottawa, qui contribuent à faire de l'Ontario un leader mondial dans le secteur de la technologie automobile. Connected and automated vehicles have the potential to transform travel on our roads and to be a significant contributor to our economy. This industry is expected to be a $60 billion industry by 2030, and it will reshape how people get around, revolutionizing traffic management, road safety, and how we collect, manage, and share data. These new technologies will improve our transportation system in ways that we never thought were possible just a few years ago. That's why in 2019, our government expanded Ontario's automated vehicle pilot. Révolutionnant la gestion du trafic, la sécurité routière et la manière dont nous collectons, gérons et partageons les données. Ces nouvelles technologies amélioreront notre système de transport d'une manière que nous n'aurions jamais cru possible il y a quelques années à peine. C'est pourquoi en 2019, notre gouvernement a élargi le programme pilote de mise à l'essai des véhicules automatisés de l'Ontario. Changes made to the pilot program are opening doors to new research and development opportunities here in Ontario for a wide range of technology and vehicle manufacturers. Under this pilot, higher automation levels are allowed on our roads, and new technologies like this one can be tested. These technologies are exciting, and while our government understands their potential, safety will always remain our top priority as Ontario works with partners to develop CVAV technology. Embracing new technologies is part of our Made in Ontario plan for growth, renewal, and economic recovery. One that will help our economy recover, bring jobs and investment to our province, and deliver exciting new choices for drivers and transit riders. Thank you again for the opportunity to join you here today. Je vous remercie encore une fois de m'avoir donné l'occasion de me joindre à vous aujourd'hui. And good luck with the testing. I can't wait to see what these vehicles can do.
Thank you so much, Minister Mulroney. It's a pleasure and a privilege to support you, the goals that have been established by the Government of Ontario, and we're very grateful for your support through the AV Innovation Network. It's now my privilege to welcome His Worship Jim Watson, Mayor of Ottawa and co-chair of the Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards Board of Directors. Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Sonia, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My thanks to Sonia and Michael Tremblay and the whole team at Invest Ottawa for organizing this launch and the panel discussion, all the great work you've been doing behind the scenes to get to this very, very special historic day. Alors, merci à tous de votre travail pour faire avancer cette innovation à Ottawa. I'd like to recognize the Honourable Catherine McKenna, who's doing a great job as our local MP in Ottawa Centre, as well as the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, and the Honourable Carolyn Mulroney, who's a former resident of Ottawa. And thank you, Minister Mulroney, for your support of many projects at Invest Ottawa. Michael, Kelly, panelists, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media who are watching in, this is really an exciting day for the City of Ottawa and, in fact, for the province and the country. Ottawa's Area X.0 testing facilities are a futureplex of innovation and collaboration, and these trials will provide valuable feedback from project partners on the performance of the automated shuttle at Tunney's Pasture. Testing is critical to the safe deployment of new technologies that improve the lives of residents, and this first mile, last mile trial is important to the future of public transportation in our city because that shuttle, of course, stops at the Tunney's Pasture LRT station. The successful first automated shuttle trial took place in August last year on a custom design route and proved useful to validate the technology. Then 2 weeks ago, and thanks to an investment from the federal government and Minister McKenna and Minister Joly, Ottawa's technology sector received a $17 million injection into the launch of Area X.0. Today's launch will see automated shuttles operate safely and autonomously on a 1.5 kilometer route through Tunney's Pasture campus. And those of you from Ottawa know that's quite the long hike, the entire length of Tunney's Pasture because of all the buildings at the back of the site. And this is another exciting milestone that helps us profile the technology while offering stakeholders an opportunity to participate in this trial and share their feedback. This Area X.0 test facility is critical for the creation of a made-in-Canada autonomous vehicle industry, and I'm thrilled with the progress we're making on the research and testing. And of course, you need 4 seasons of weather. We have that, and a little bit of snowflakes here in Ottawa today. So those people testing, looking for a city to test in, have the ideal site right here in Ottawa with 4 distinct seasons every single year. And Ottawa's state-of-the-art facilities offer a secure environment to create, test, and demonstrate future mobility and connected technologies. Nous avons à Ottawa les installations requises pour développer l'avenir de cette industrie ici locale à Ottawa. The testing facilities encourage political, private, and academic partners to work together to develop and test technologies and bring them to market. And as you know, Ottawa has one of the greatest technology ecosystems in the world. These are industry leaders in many tech sectors, including life sciences, ICT, software, defense and security, clean tech, and intelligent transportation, including connected and autonomous vehicles. So in conclusion, I want to extend special thanks to Invest Ottawa and all our partners for your commitment to our innovation and entrepreneurship community. Merci beaucoup pour tous vos efforts. And thank you again for everyone taking the test. I look forward to going and trying out the shuttle with my colleague Tim Tierney tomorrow because we have Transportation Committee today, but it's going to be an exciting day today and tomorrow, and we'll hand it back to Sonia. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you so much, Mayor Watson. We will look forward to welcoming you to the shuttle trial tomorrow. And as I say, who knew snow, sleet, and ice would be such a competitive advantage for our region and for the advancement of technology, but it absolutely is. It's now my great privilege to introduce Michael Tremblay, our President and CEO at Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks so much, Sonia. Please let me add my deep thanks to Minister McKenna and the Government of Canada, without which we really wouldn't be able to provide testing like we're seeing today at the marginal cost that we're able to do it. A lot of the infrastructure is in place in many respects to the support that we get from the federal government. So thanks so much, Minister, also for your local support of Bayview Yards, where I am today. Thanks to Minister Mulroney and the province of Ontario, and I'll include Ontario Centres of Excellence. We got our start in the autonomous area with the AVIN program with the support of the Ontario Centres of Excellence. And of course, with the province, we're very connected to the Regional Innovation Centre network. We're part of the Small Business Enterprise Centre as well. So we're very active with the province of Ontario with programming to support entrepreneurs big and small. Also, Mayor Watson and the City of Ottawa, I can't imagine a better partner in going after these markets. We're very, very blessed to have your support, sir, and the support of the city. It's been just an incredible journey to get here. And to be frank, we're just getting started. I think that our best days in this area are ahead. I'm very excited about that potential. We've already seen the listing of many of the partners. You'll see it again. We're very blessed to have deep industry support. If you want to really drive change, you really do have to set it up in a way where everyone can be part of that change and help to drive the future. We established a very bold vision for Area X.0 a few weeks ago. We described it as unleashing and realizing the potential, power, and impact of visionary technologies to improve our world and human lives. It harnesses the power of collaboration, bringing together innovative startups, SMEs, multinationals, academia, and all levels of government. It truly is a triple helix model. And just very simply, having the power of the regulators, the policymakers involved with us, having academia from an applied research perspective, and including industry, big and small, to help us with the commercialization process is the right way to combat that. And that is the vision and the approach that we have for Area X.0. So we are truly proud to host the first low-speed autonomous shuttle trial of its kind in Ontario. This particular project is a really good one early out of the gate here to show off the concept that we had in mind with our vision. So we're very, very pleased with that. The outcomes of this trial will help to create new capabilities, expertise, and market opportunity for technology innovators and firms in our region and Canada more broadly. We believe it'll attract foreign investment into our region as well from the efforts that we're doing with projects like this one. Automated shuttles have the potential to provide new transportation options for riders over the first or last mile of their journey and enhance access to public transportation. Doing this at Tunney's is really a great opportunity to showcase that. If you can imagine a few years from now, having the opportunity to have someone jump onto a first mile shuttle, go to Tunney's, shoot over to Bayview Yards, and with the extension of the light rail system all the way to the airport, these are really, really solid ways of looking at transportation into the future. So we're very pleased to be able to showcase that opportunity here today. So what are we doing and what's the mission? So following a week of vigorous testing at the Area X.0 private test facility, that we actually did the first 3 phases at Area X.0, the shuttles will operate around 15 kilometers an hour. And it, as the mayor pointed out, it's a 1.5 kilometer route through Tunney's Pasture campus. starting tomorrow and then running through to the 13th. So we got 10 full days of testing things out and performing a variety of tests in real world conditions. I know our Easy Mile team, we're eager to check out Ottawa's weather. You got a pretty good taste of that this morning. So anxious to see how all this goes the next 10 days. This research project brings together, of course, AreaX.O team operated by Invest Ottawa, Transport Canada, who've been just an incredible partner through this, Ontario Ministry of Transportation that helped us to work through brand new processes to get all the permits that we needed to get things underway. The City of Ottawa, of course, have done a ton of work with us to help groom the site and to help us prepare for this test in a safe way. Easy Mile, who are an incredible leader in driverless technology, we're so happy to have them. They've been just great to work with. And of course, startups, including Auto Guardian by SmartCone and RideShark, they're adding some value to our program by adding additional safety features, which is really attractive for the purpose of the testing. We have Accenture involved. They've been helping us with the business strategy and the direction. And the National Research Council is actually helping us with some of the testing scenarios, which is just fantastic. We do want to extend a special thanks to Ottawa Public Health for their guidance. Safety is of paramount importance, and so we're very grateful for their input to how we're rolling this thing out over the next 10 days. So together, this collaboration aims to do a little policy hacking, and that's actually what we're up to over the next 10 days. The first element of that is to acquire greater insight into planning and approvals processes for testing this emerging technology on Canadian roads. So the idea is, as a regulator, seeing how industry actually rolls this thing out to make sure that they can make it easier for subsequent testing that will happen in the region and beyond. Of course, the other part is to assess the performance of low-speed automated shuttles operating in various conditions. That includes the automated driving capabilities, battery energy efficiency, which is particularly tested in cold weather. So we're looking forward to seeing how that performs the next week or so. Accessibility and the rider's perception of technology, as we have done in previous testing with Transport Canada. And then the final piece is to help inform Transport Canada's approach to the low-speed automated shuttles, including supporting the development of guidance documents for testing this kind of technology going forward. As Sonia pointed out at the start of our event, AreaX.O is the future plex of innovation and collaboration. We look forward to driving the future together. And ladies and gentlemen, the world needs Ottawa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike. Excellent words to kickstart our media scrum, which will begin now. We will take the next 10 minutes to field questions from those registered media that are with us. We thank Minister McKenna, Mayor Watson, and Michael for remaining with us for this portion of the event. We will call you forward, my colleague Jessica Ward, for those who raise their hand, and we do ask you please to use the raise the hand function to bring forward a question. When you raise your question, please identify yourself and your media outlet. For those who do join us, we do have pre-scheduled media interviews and availability from 12 p.m. on with our fully fluently bilingual team as well. So if we are unable to address any question here today, we have other authorities that will be available to support you a little bit later on today. And with that, I open the floor to any media using the raise the hand function. And we have David Sally. Dave, it's great to see you from the Ottawa Business Journal. There we are.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks, Sonia. Good morning, everybody. Well, I'll address this maybe to Mike, is the best person. Mike, was there any particular infrastructure you had to install there at Tunney's on the track to basically allow for the trials?
Thanks. That's a great question, David. Thank you for joining us this morning. So no particular actual capital investment for the site. The city was helpful in making sure that the grounds were all properly, like there were potholes and things we had to deal with. So things like that we had to address. Our team this morning is blowing leaves off of the, with all the blowing yesterday, so they had to clean that off. But most of the infrastructure we were very fortunate to acquire as a result of FedDev investments. So we actually have a fair amount of investment in the last 2 years, 29 million in total. And so we're using really advanced test dummies, for example, that we used in the last phase to make sure that we had ironed out any concerns or wrinkles, because at the end of the day, safety is paramount. So a lot of the actual investment was in time in properly fully mapping the site so that everything would run perfectly. And so we spent the week last week going through that with the Easy Mile team, and they did a fantastic job in getting us ready for this morning.
Okay, just curious, so I haven't been around Tunney's for a while, but are there, I'm assuming there are still some people milling around there, are there not? Is it still like a
Yes, there are, yeah.
active, streetscape area? So so is there, are there kind of measures in place to let people know what's going on and just that sort of thing for safety reasons?
Yes, actually, great question, David. So this is an R&D project. So the ridership has been limited to Tunney's employees and the employees that are associated with the actual trials. So Transport Canada, Invest Ottawa, Accenture employees. So all of the partners that are active in this. We have gone to a bubble riding approach using the Ride Shark technology that you can actually go ahead and get yourself set up on. And this way we keep everybody absolutely safe. So we've communicated with the Tunney's folks. Of course, it's a limited number of workers that are on the campus, but there are many there. So we're able to tap into them to actually finish off the their route. So they truly are doing kind of last mile testing. And that's the kind of experience that we're looking to log and just understand what their reaction is to this kind of testing.
Right. And is this is there sort of a schedule for, is this going to be the first of several trials like this that are happening around the city, or what's your approach there?
Yeah, we're hoping to, and just to pan back a little bit, so automated shuttles are one part of the programming that comes out of Area X.0. We're also very interested in first responder scenarios. We're interested in defense and security and smart farming. Anything that has a requirement for mobility and for cybersecurity and requires open space in a private, safe area to do that kind of testing, we are open for business, and we certainly do hope to see many more. This actually is our third engagement with Transport Canada, and we're engaged with a number of departments. That's one of the benefits of Ottawa, of course, is we've got big government, big industry, small industry, and an incredible academic, post-secondary system that I think can help to feed the whole model for all of us. So we're looking forward to those projects. And I do want to pick up on one more point on this, David. The marginal cost of running a project is very low. And so that's one of the attractors to the region, to really try that next opportunity and that look for that next big thing by trying it out at low cost, low marginal cost.
Yeah, I was also going to ask about that. Is there a price tag on this test?
This one was a little bit under $500,000.
Okay. Right. And so what about the involvement just of local startups in this? I know there are a couple of Ottawa startups, I believe, involved.
Yes. So Auto Guardian, which is a smartphone company, and Ride Shark. Those are the two. And we fully expect, I'm really hoping, David, that we can get to a run rate of 1 to 2 a quarter, that we do something substantive on and scale it up from there. So that's our goal over the next year to two, is to ramp it up to that level. Each one of these, of course, they're always custom, and it requires a lot of project management work. But we are hoping to get there, and every single one will include SMEs. That's the point of our work.
Right.
I'm just taking a peek to ensure that if there's other hands that might be raised from our great media outlets, I don't see any quite yet. Dave, if you have one last question, that would be excellent. And of course, we can follow up with you this afternoon as well.
I mean, where do you kind of see Ottawa fitting in? And I believe Caroline mentioned, that there was that this is it could be a $60 billion industry in the next decade. That's obviously not a small number. What do you see what's Ottawa's niche in this? Where do we fit in here?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that the advantage we have in our region is that we already have a jogging start. So we've got a number of companies that are already active. If I just look at the autonomous vehicle space, when I include institutions as well as industry, there's roughly 100 organizations that are currently already active. Some of them are quite well installed, whether you look at Nokia or BlackBerry QNX. These are companies that already have supply chains that are engaged in these markets. So the goal is to build up more and more capability locally with our domestic entrepreneur base and continue to attract investment from foreign investors into our region. And over time, what that does is it drives capability. So I'm a huge believer in being relevant through building capability that's relevant to long-range markets. That's exactly what we're doing. So if you want to get after a $60 billion market, that's one way to go after it. And I might add that if you look at the exports of agriculture for Canada, it's a $60 billion export opportunity. And if I think about the next 5 years, there'll be another billion people on the planet. Everybody's got to eat. And so when you look at what we're doing with smart farming, in addition to autonomous vehicles, these are long-range markets with a ton of potential. I believe Ottawa's best play in this is at the R&D core of it. I think that's where relevance will come from, provided we're connected to long-range markets.
Thank you so much, David. I just want to ensure if we have any other media who would like to pose a question on our online scrum that we give that opportunity. And of course, our broader PR team is available. Christian Millette has raised a hand. Welcome, Christian. If you could just identify your media outlet for us, that would be great.
Yes. Sorry, I was on mute. Christian Millette de Radio-Canada français, donc French CBC. Question en français, réponse en français peut-être pour la ministre Mme Mulroney. Je voudrais savoir, qu'est-ce qui fait qu'Ottawa est aussi spécial pour faire ce genre d'exercice ou d'examen? Et est-ce qu'on pourrait peut-être penser faire ce genre d'exercice-là à un moment donné dans une grande ville comme Toronto où il y a quand même un important besoin de transport en commun, d'électrification également des transports comme ça?
I regret that Minister Mulroney unfortunately had a prior commitment and needed to slip away from the event. However, Christian, we would be very happy to connect you with her.
I can ask the question in English if you want, if I will have at least the answer. I was wondering if why Ottawa is so important for that kind of test, and will it be possible in the near future to have that kind of test running like in such a big city as Toronto? Because Toronto has a problem with public transportation. They have a special need for them as well. Will we be able at one point in the near future to see that kind of test running in Toronto?
Yes, if I can answer that one, Sonia. So thanks for the question, Christian. So Toronto has actually announced that they will do something in the spring. They have a plan underway. We work very closely across the AVEN network. And so we're certainly very supportive of helping our wingmen to get the support they need. I believe that having a strong capability in Ontario and across Canada is the right way for Canada to compete in export markets. We should travel in packs. So Toronto is planning on doing this, and we certainly look forward to collaborating across the AVEN network and across Canada to go after these global opportunities.
Is it a kind of a research that you exchange knowledge, or you basically do your own things on each side?
The AVEN network actually is very much an exchange process. So we're constantly comparing notes, sharing what we're learning. Each of the regions has a different area of focus. Toronto's is very much on building up massive stockpiles of data and doing a lot of analytics on them. Waterloo is focused on a deep HD mapping strategy that they've been working on. So across the network, there's different areas. Ours happens to be very focused on mobility, and it's because of the long history of telecommunications capability in our region, along with embedded software. I think those are the key ingredients. I might add in cybersecurity to that as well. So there's some things that we do that are very useful and helpful to our partners across the province and beyond.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll see you at noon. I'll be there anyway to test drive the new mobile system.
Very good. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, Christian. And I would like to thank the Honorable Minister McKenna and His Worship Mayor Jim Watson for joining us today. We are now going to be segmenting into the next portion of our program. We've heard a lot today about the potential benefits of these shuttles, how they could be applied to add value to citizens, to our economy, market opportunities for companies, to our community, and everyone who relies on future transportation solutions. You hear words, very technical ones that we live with every day, like mobility, autonomy, connectivity. What the heck is it like to ride in one of these shuttles? We wanted, together with you, our online community, to give you a virtual spin in the first electric, low-speed automated shuttle to hit Ontario roads right here in the capital. We hope you enjoy your ride. Play the video.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Days, Director of Area X.O, and I'd like to welcome you to board the Area X.O low-speed automated shuttle.
Autonomous shuttle en route. Please clear the road in preparation for boarding. Ensure a safe social distance of minimum 2 meters and have your mask on prior to boarding.
This project is in collaboration with Invest Ottawa, Transport Canada, the City of Ottawa, Easy Mile, Accenture, Auto Guardian by SmartCone, RideShark, and the National Research Council. This is the first project of its kind to be approved under Ontario's Automated Vehicle Testing Program. Starting on Tuesday, we are ready to safely welcome key stakeholders for safe, pre-scheduled rides at the Tunney's Pasture campus in Ottawa. This low-speed automated shuttle is an electric, self-driving, 15-passenger vehicle. The maximum speed of these vehicles is typically 25 kilometers or less. Easy Mile's customer service ambassador will be on the vehicle at all times to welcome you on board, answer your questions, and to take control of the vehicle if required. Hi Nate, tell me a little bit about the technology on the shuttle.
Of course. So this autonomous and electric vehicle uses LiDAR, cameras, GPS, odometry, and an inertial measurement unit to basically create a localization so the vehicle knows where it's at, and then it tells it its navigation so it knows where it's going, and then it does obstacle detection. So we know anything that comes in the path and it'll slow down or stop accordingly.
The vehicle will be traveling on a program route that is approximately 1.5 kilometers in length and has 4 available stops. Nate, why don't you tell me a bit about the safety features on the vehicle?
Of course. So these routes are predetermined. It only goes where we programmed it to. So every stop, every crosswalk, blinkers and bells, everything is programmed into the vehicle to make for a very safe ride that's very controlled. Along with that, inside of the vehicle, we have a customer service ambassador, such as myself, and then we have seat belts so that people can secure themselves into the vehicle. If they ever have a question or if they have a concern, they can consult me and we will respond accordingly.
This trial project will ensure a future impact on our city and our economy. This trial will provide an opportunity for testing emerging technologies on Canadian roads, assess the effectiveness of safety and automated shuttles in various conditions, and inform Transport Canada's approach to low-speed automated shuttles into the future.
So how do you like the route?
It's awesome. It's really nice and smooth, and the shuttle is so quiet. While adhering to Ottawa public health guidelines, including cleaning between rides, we are excited to be working to provide a safe demonstration. Rider feedback will be used to assess how automated shuttles can contribute to future transportation and mobility solutions. Thank you for riding with me on the Area X.O low-speed automated shuttle.
Welcome back from Tunney's Pasture, and special thanks to Kelly and Nathan for taking us on their journey. While we get our panelists all assembled for the next portion of our program, I want to really highlight something we think is very special. This on-road trial is part of a larger journey that we have been on with our innovation community. It builds on several other exciting CAV firsts we have celebrated together. In October 2017, Ottawa became the first Canadian city to launch testing of an on-street CAV communicating with live city infrastructure. This project was delivered by Leader BlackBerry QNX, Invest Ottawa, the City of Ottawa, and our friends at Canada North Business Association. And then again in August 2019, ARIX.O together with Arrigo, Transport Canada, and Canada North Business Association conducted a trial that enabled the public to experience a shuttle operating in autonomous mode on a private golf course. This current on-road trial in mixed traffic at Tunney's Pasture is going to test Easy Miles electric automated shuttle on a much more complex route on city streets and gather that data and insight that Kelly and Nathan described about how it performs. And this is ultimately very critical to the future safe implementation of this technology and future transportation solutions. And now we have the opportunity to learn from the experts, from the actual authorities working on the ground on this project. It's my pleasure to welcome back our President and CEO, Michael Tremblay, who is going to moderate a panel discussion with our project partners. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks so much, Sonia, and I'm really thrilled to share this panel with you. We have a lot to share, and so let's get started. Let me introduce the panel. So firstly, I'll introduce Divi Camboge. He's with the ARIX.O team at Invest Ottawa. He's a technical project manager. Divi's been with us since the start. Welcome, Divi. Also introducing Jim Lothrop. He's a Director General with the Innovation Center at Transport Canada. Thrilled to have you with us, Jim. Look forward to this discussion. Sharon Lewinson, President and CEO of RideShark, who are providing some incredible technology to help with the bubble riding process with our project. Joseph Holmes, who's the Director of Sales with Easy Mile. Easy Mile has been incredible to work with in this project. Welcome, Joseph. And Tennille Houston, CEO of Audio Guardian by Smartcone Technologies, another SME that is delivering some safety technology for the purposes of this project. So welcome, everyone. I wanted to first start by just recapping some of the objectives of the project, just so we can begin with that here. Again, the objectives of this project are really a bit of policy hacking and development for the companies that come together to work on this, to hone their skills and develop their capabilities. So the first part of that, of course, is to acquire greater insight into how industry players really plan how they would approve and move forward on such a project. We ran a 4-phase project in the process here in order to gradually get to that place where we had a go, no-go decision about a week and a half ago in order to make this more public R&D trial happen. And so that was part of it. The second, of course, is to test out how the autonomous shuttles actually perform. Reliability features, we're collecting a ton of data as part of this. We'll be collecting information from riders to understand how the experience was for them, checking on battery efficiency, those sorts of things. So a lot of it tied to just assessing the performance of how this equipment works. And then, of course, helping Transport Canada with their approach with looking at these low-speed automated shuttles going forward. So those were the topical items. So let me just jump right into the questions then. I'm going to start first, Jim, with you, with Transport Canada. So I've shared kind of the high-level perspective of some of the objectives that we set out for on this project. And so this is the first of its kind to be approved in Ontario, which in and of itself is a great thing to kind of trigger, and it allows Transport to take a look at how things will unfold. But what can you help us to understand the importance of this kind of testing, and what sorts of things that you're going to ultimately do as a department with the findings?
Well, thanks, Michael. That's a great question. So as been highlighted throughout this session, Transport Canada undertakes testing of emerging vehicle technologies to help inform regulations, the codes, the standards, the other approaches that we use to ensure their safe and timely introduction to the transportation system. And these electric shuttles are being evaluated in terms of their automated driving capabilities, how the drivers and people interact with the shuttle, its battery efficiency, and in particular in cold weather operations, as you highlighted, and honestly how it performs as a first and last mile transportation solution. This is all going to help inform guidance material in this area. And as Transport Canada uses this information to inform safety approaches for connected and automated vehicles, these guidance documents and these international technical standards will only get better and will help it get these technologies online quicker. Last but not least, as you highlighted, the project's an exciting opportunity to work directly with the vehicle manufacturer and the range of transportation stakeholders, the province, the municipality, the local transit authorities, the fire, the police, the first responders in Ottawa, and Ottawa's excellent SME community. It's only through working with these people and working collaboratively together that we can collectively increase the capacity of the overall transportation community. Like to wrap it up, like Transport Canada is really excited to be working with Invest Ottawa, Easy Mile, and that local SME community to evaluate this all-electric shuttle in the range of conditions that Ottawa has to offer. And it's been an incredible journey so far, and we're really looking forward to finishing off the demonstration pilot and taking these results.
That's great, Jim. And when you think about Ottawa as a region, why is it kind of well suited for this kind of a testing? I know proximity is helpful. You know, you're here, we're here. But any other facets of Ottawa that Transport Canada has found to be an effective place to try out this kind of testing?
Well, I think it's been highlighted, Michael, already, but just Ottawa has a unique geographical and weather considerations that are interesting when you're testing new technology. And it's no surprise that we're on a fringe season here, like early November. Ottawa has some unique and varying weathering conditions, and we're going to take maximum advantage of those and see how these shuttles perform in cold weather environments.
Excellent, Jim. Thank you. I'm going to move to Joseph with Easy Mile. This has been quite an interesting time to run a test, Joseph. We're in the center of a pandemic. The Easy Mile team have been incredible to work with in terms of, you know, following all of the rules and making sure that we're doing this in a way that's safe for everyone. Your company is active in markets around the world doing these kinds of tests. When you engage with projects like this one, first question I'd ask is, what do you hope to achieve? And does this project stand out for you? And if so, why?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, on behalf of Easy Mile, I just wanted to say it's an absolute privilege and honor to be here today. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this a project for us. It's much more of a partnership where each of the stakeholders, you know, allow us to have the opportunity to have the first public road deployment here in Ontario. You know, there's certainly new and unique challenges that come with this. However, every deployment that we have has its own unique opportunities to overcome. You know, Easy Mile is a relatively small company. It's a team of around 250 people spread across the world. So leveraging these partnerships here is absolutely critical to our success. You know, as it's been said this morning, to be joined alongside both the federal and local government, academic institutions, and other key leading industry players in this space is a complete recipe for success for us. I will say what makes this project kind of really stand out is that everybody has been aligned 100% right from day one. You know, that makes navigating any of these challenges as they arise much easier to overcome. You know, we're hopeful that together we can create that blueprint for the future of automated vehicle deployments in Ontario, and for the much bigger picture, provide learnings and feedback, you know, for the rest of Canada.
So just a quick follow-up question for you, Joseph. So you've discovered Canada geese. Maybe take a moment to talk to us about how that all went.
Yeah, I mean, in the much bigger picture, other than just Canada geese, we're certainly living in unprecedented times. You know, as I just said, you know, there's certainly challenges with being the first to deploy on public roads. But there were other challenges that, you're right, were a result of the pandemic, such as restricted borders, you know. But, you know, having, there wasn't really anything that surprising for us other than the pandemic thing to kind of overcome. You know, we're very proud of our over 300 deployments in about 30 countries worldwide. So we certainly have had our fair share of challenges to overcome. I will say, obviously, you point out Canada geese. They certainly were a first for us. However, in Australia, the first for us there were kangaroos, which I would say are probably a little bit more aggressive than your geese. But yeah, to finish up on that point, like I said, having all of the project stakeholders completely aligned really helps us navigate any of these challenges. And having such a great partner such as Invest Ottawa has been completely instrumental to our success here in Ontario. And we're just really looking forward to the bigger picture and hopefully more projects to come.
Thanks, Joseph. Really appreciate the partnership, as you put it. That's spot on. I'm going to move to Tennille now with Auto Guardian, a company that is part of SmartCone. So we were thrilled to include your company, Tennille, in this project because it does add a visible layer of safety and security to the project. We know that this is a fairly unique one for your company, and so I thought maybe you could reflect a little bit on some of the unique challenges that you and your colleagues faced, and what the sorts of things you'd had to do to be able to work through them, which is sort of the point of running a trial like this one, is to try new things and stretch into a new capability as a result of it. So Tennille, if you could give us some insights.
Happy to. So great to be a part of the project, and thanks so much to the whole team. As you can see, I'm here on site as we speak, so getting ready and getting prepped for these socially distant media rides, possibly later this afternoon. But yeah, this is a very exciting deployment for us. We've done some really great initial testing with the Auto Guardian by SmartCone solution, which was mainly done with infrastructure that was kind of exterior to the shuttle. So far in demonstrations at Area X.0, we've had smart cone devices set up that can detect the shuttle using LiDAR from a distance. And now this is the first shuttle demonstration we've got to do where we actually integrate with the shuttle. So we have an onboard unit, and EasyMile has been absolutely phenomenal in working with us, allowing us the power that we need, helping us run any wires and making sure that our onboard unit is tested, driving us around multiple times throughout the route, where our onboard unit connects at each and every stop with intelligent infrastructure. And that's how we're bringing that safety layer like that you mentioned, right? So every time a shuttle is about 100 meters from approaching, we send a signal out, and it actually gives that audible message you saw in that demonstration video saying, you know, everyone, the autonomous shuttle is approaching. Make sure you clear the road. So if there's a taxi drop off or an Uber driver, hopefully that gets them moving off the route. Or if there's any people that are lingering in the street or trying to look and see the shuttle as it arrives, it reminds them to please step back, prepare for boarding. And then of course, during this time, we all know we need to keep those safety measures in place. So just that gentle reminder to, no matter how exciting it is, try not to crowd together. And of course, keep that mask on before you get inside the shuttle. So we're really proud and we've learned a lot. So we're out here right now and just making sure the batteries are fully charged because it is cold today, as we mentioned, and testing that, as well as, you know, working with things like the shuttle itself has heating elements on the windows that we weren't able to test until we actually integrated into the shuttle. So it's really great to be able to have that capability to prep us for larger deployments that, like you mentioned, there's a deployment in Toronto and Whitby, and we're actually a part of the Whitby deployment. So a lot of the things we're doing now are learnings for that deployment. So it's really exciting to be part of it all.
That's great. I was just going to ask you what sort of carry forward things you would take from this project, but you've covered that. Thanks so much, Tennille. It's great having you and your team with us on this project.
Thanks
I'm going to move to Sharon with RideShark. RideShark has a really compelling offering, which is already available as part of Ottawa's transportation experience via the Ottawa Ride Match program. So with the pandemic, we were super pleased to be able to include RideShark because, of course, bubble riding as a strategy is I think, the right thing to do in an environment like this to make sure that we protect everyone. This really came together really quickly, Sharon. Can you describe for everyone here the experience that you went through in engaging on this? We had to throw this together really quickly, maintain all the safety and security aspects of it. Perhaps you could comment on this and how you and your team navigated this, because I know it was not easy.
Thank you, Michael. The experience has actually been fantastic. The City of Ottawa has been a longstanding leader in sustainable transportation in Canada, and RideShark's had the opportunity of supporting the city's initiatives to help people choose active and sustainable transportation choices through the Ottawa Ride Match program. And RideShark's also an Invest Ottawa scale-up partner, so when the opportunity came along for us to participate in this project, our first thought was to leverage this existing technology that was in the city to be able to rapidly deliver these private shuttle bookings and live display of the map locations. So we were really excited to showcase the power of RideShark's technology. EasyMile made the process actually really seamless to take their live feed of the shuttle locations and bring it into our virtual mapping technology. And the Invest Ottawa project team was amazing to work with. They helped us every step of the way, making sure we had the information that we needed for the bookings and the communications and the graphics and the design. And we basically took our RideShark development team and we said, okay, this is important. This is where we want to be in connected and automated vehicles. So they all pivoted and they all worked together. to prioritize actually was new development of shuttle bookings so people could book a private shuttle and to have it available on the Ottawa Ride Match site for people to book a ride over the next 2 weeks. And while we made it specific for this pilot, the technology we developed is actually something that we now can adapt and launch for other customers or partners internationally.
I'm thrilled to hear that. I was going to do the follow-up question. So where will this take you? But it sounds like it's now a nice opportunity to go after other potential as a result of going through this process. Were there any other kind of surprises when you went through this, Sharon?
No, not really surprises. We expect in a project like this, anytime we work on something like this, it's dynamic and evolving. And our technology is actually built to accommodate that. It's configurable with many, many switches. It really enforced for us how important it is to have technology that can be that flexible and to make it so we need to bring this to our global customer base. So this new development now actually provides us with that foundation to take our unified mobility platform to deliver on-demand technology service to support first and last mile, ride sharing, and public transit globally. And this project went so smoothly. This is something we're going to explore to partner and collaborate on these kind of initiatives, pretty much internationally.
I'm really thrilled, and it's great also having you as part of our Scale Up program. So thanks for your comments, very helpful. And I want to now move to Greg Kent, who is with the City of Ottawa. He's the manager of traffic management. Greg and his team have been incredibly active with us in the preparation for this project, and along the way, of course, as well. So part of this was to examine how various groups within the city would actually respond and come together and plan and execute a project like this, Greg. Can you talk a little bit about that and how all of this came together from the city's perspective?
Sure, thanks, Mike. Prior to that, I'd just like to reiterate how grateful we are to be part of this project. It's a great project. And to be able to work with so many excellent partners, it's really a unique opportunity, and it's excellent. So from our standpoint, from the City of Ottawa and how we've been engaged in this trial, outside public health involvement to ensure safety. And we've touched on a number of departments and branches within the city. Our focus at this point is really on transportation services, particularly traffic, engineering and operations, and transportation planning. To how we evolve into the future with this technology. But we also have other partners from our first responders on how to deal with situations that are associated with automated vehicles and connected vehicles, but also our roads and infrastructure services that have been enablers to make this all happen. And certainly our economic development group who see taking these initiatives into the future. So once we knew we could be part of this, we certainly pulled out all of our resources to make things happen, have things set up, identify what we wanted to learn from it, and establish a good network system so that we could benefit from this overall project.
That's really helpful. And so, Greg, when you think about the transportation experience and the learnings from this project so far, we're not done yet. Obviously, we still have to finish off the next few weeks. Where do you see this taking us?
Well, there's a lot of great partners here within the area, and that we can team up with and explore all the pieces that we need to find out. How do these shuttles actually work? What do they entail? What do they need from us? How do we communicate with these shuttles? We have a lot of great systems for transportation. Our traffic signal systems, our road sensors. How does this information get from us to them, and basically can they feedback information? So there's a lot of pieces here that we want to find out about. And what's great and unique about Ottawa is we have Area X.0, which is a private facility. We can go and push our limits. We can really test what is needed, how it's going to get done in a very safe environment. And once we figure that out, then we can bring that back out onto the public network and run those in a safe and efficient manner. So we've got a great opportunity here, and we're going to seize that opportunity as we move forward.
Thanks so much, Greg. I said it earlier in my opening comments, and I'll say it again. working with the city has been just incredible. Just a great partner in this. We would not be where we are at Area X.0 were it not for the City of Ottawa. So thanks, Greg, to you and your colleagues for all of your help along the way. Now I'm gonna move to our final panelist, Divi Kamboj. So I want to open this part by just saying to Transport Canada, projects like this one, trials like this one, really help us to kind of push our limits and increase our ability and our capability. So we're very grateful for the opportunity to work with you on this, our third project together. And Divi has been involved with us since the very start of these sorts of trials. And I'm kind of anxious to hear his comments here. Divi's been with us since the start of this thing when it was Ottawa L5 and then recently rebranded to Area X.0. And I would like to ask Divi a couple of things. One is how he sees the importance of a project like this one. And then secondly, I'm quite sure we had a few obstacles we had to deal with. So Divi, maybe talk about a few that kind of jumped to the forefront for you and talk about what we had to do to get through some of these obstacles. So Divi, over to you.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity to join this esteemed panel. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Mike, I would like to begin by saying that safety is paramount for any type of implementation for autonomous solutions and CAVs. And following the same spirit, testing and validation of the CAVs and the smart mobility solutions is critical for large-scale deployments or future adoption for these technologies. So what we provide at Area X.0, we are giving companies, small, medium SMEs, right, and then larger companies as well, giving them a controlled and secure test environment where use case scenarios can be set up for test consistency and repeatability. Right, you would like to validate your solutions in a much more controlled environment so that you can understand what are the parameters that need to be modified for the real world deployment. So in the form of Area X.0, we have an end-to-end CAV test environment with the vulnerable road user dummy test targets. We have V2X testing platforms, next generation communication networks that will all provide the basic and core ingredients that are required for a full deployment of a CAV solution in a public setting. So I think having said that, this project helped us capture the ground truth of how a vehicle operates, in terms of the VRU use cases. What happens when a pedestrian comes in front of the shuttle? What is the response of the shuttle? What happens when you have a blind spot, when you have a car parked on the right side of the street and somebody's coming in the front of the shuttle? And that's in that scenario. So the intent was to understand what are the operational design requirements for a deployment at Tooney's pasture location, and how do we best replicate that at Area X.0, the private test facility that we have there. And I think the learnings were very insightful. I would like to say that. And to begin with, I think EasyMile had done a much more rigorous site assessment review where they identified all the parameters that could impact the operation of the shuttle. In this case, we mentioned vulnerable road users, there are bicyclists, and then you clearly mentioned the wildlife, in this case, the geese. So that does throw some challenges to the overall operation of the shuttles, and how do we ensure that once the shuttle is deployed in the field, those challenges will be mitigated, right? So that was the intent, and we conducted a 5-day testing schedule at the Area X.0 facility, where we were able to combine many of these scenarios and understand the shuttle behavior. So I feel that after that rigorous testing at the Area X.0, it has provided us a heightened level of confidence in autonomous driving capabilities of the EasyMile shuttles, particularly for the operational domain at the Tooney's pasture site.
Very good. I was just going to do the follow-up question and ask you, so after all this time, are we ready for the next 10 days? And it sounds like we are.
Absolutely, we are, and we are excited to hit the ground running, and we look forward to obtaining feedback from all the relevant stakeholders as well as the riders. So this is going to be an exciting journey. Looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Davey. So Sonia, before we disperse our panel, are there any questions online that we would address to any of the panelists or to myself?
I will take a peek at the chat, which we can enable briefly. We have about, I'm going to say 7 minutes. Perhaps I can ask a question of our esteemed panelists. What do you think is the greatest lesson learned that you have taken from the work we have done together so far, and why?
I'm going to start and then I'm going to open up to our panelists. So for me personally, on a short project like this, which in the end will run about 8 or 9 weeks in total, you really do have to expect the unexpected and you have to respond immediately. You can't, these things don't get better with time. You have to react immediately. You have to reach out to your partners, come up with a collective solution in many cases, and just get it done because there's no going back. You don't have any regrets in these projects. So we had a few things pop up. We found a way to work through them and we were able to keep things moving. I fear that had we not done that, we would have been stuck and we would have had to extend out the project in some way. And that isn't good when you've got so many different partners and groups involved. You really do have to stay on point. So very, very happy that the team addressed the project in this way. Specifically want to thank Rebecca Thompson for her work as our project manager and making sure we were all on track with all of the milestones. So I'm going to throw it over to our panelists. Any other insights, biggest learnings throughout the last number of weeks?
I would say from Auto Guardian's perspective, in this deployment, we're mainly doing the connectivity for safety alarming and alerting. And in our next deployment, we're going to be actually capturing data inside the shuttle. So seeing our onboard unit inside, one actually in person made us realize that once we start to add camera and AI to collect more data, we might need to readdress our form factor. And now we have plenty of time to do that for the next deployment that's not scheduled until spring of next year. So I really think that was a vital takeaway for us.
Oh, very good. Excellent. Thanks, Teniel. Anyone else?
From the EasyMile perspective, I just going to very quickly say that having such a great team to be able to actually execute this project is key. You know, I just represent one element of it, but I'm supported by the team back in Denver, Colorado, specifically Danny, the project manager, and Batiste, the customer solutions architect. You know, the project would not be able to be done without the support of those guys. Obviously, they're devastated they couldn't be here for this project, but Nate and I are absolutely proud to be here. And the only other thing I would just very quickly add is setting kind of key criteria for success, setting key milestones, just so we can really just attain what it means to be not have success here at this project. So I think, yeah, just setting those key criteria for success, I think, has been a massive lesson learned for us.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks so much.
We have questions rolling through the chat. So for Michael Tremblay, from Michael McCallan at Cheetah Networks, what is next?
Oh, yeah. I knew Michael would ask that question. So what is next? We do have a number of project opportunities that we're pursuing, and it's in a wide variety of target markets. So for us, what's next is more projects. I say that because I personally believe the single best thing we can do to help drive the innovation process is to go from theory to practice. So if we can be practitioners and if we can point our skills in different directions from a vertical market perspective, we're going to get really good at this. And so I would, if I could do an open-ended probe to our audience out there, if you've got a project idea that is substantive and you would view as being R&D centric and can help us to go after export markets, call me, mtremblay@investottawa.ca. I'd love to hear from you because we are looking for those.
Excellent. There are two questions, both relatively similar, about what are the specific goals or successes that you're looking to achieve in this trial? What will make it a success? And I wonder if maybe we start with Jim at Transport Canada for that.
Well, thanks for the question, Sonia. You know, I don't want to be too flippant about it, but I think it's already been a success. Just the fact that we have pulled together the province, the municipality, ourselves, and we've gone through the planning process to get the first trial on the road in Ontario, that's a success in itself. but to look further down the road, the success will be that we have the data, we have the information, we have the knowledge that we need to successfully deploy more of these pilots in Ontario, in Canada, and do it in a safe and timely manner. That's what true success will be for us.
Excellent. Joseph, I don't know if you'd like to add anything from your side with respect to Easy Mile.
Yeah, having real world experience is absolutely key. So the kind of key characteristics of this route being the weather, being the geese, all of that just helps us learn as a business and helps us kind of refine and develop what we offer to the rest of Canada and specifically Ontario as well. So yeah, no, we're really excited. And I would absolutely echo that. Yeah, it's been a success already. We have 10 days of operations to really kind of capture some great data set, but just getting to this stage has been a huge success for us with all the partners. So absolutely.
Excellent. We have another question about how we are looking at engaging early stage startups in upcoming project cycles. So of course we have a pre-accelerator program, our accelerator and our scale up platform. Tennille and Sharon involved in different parts of those programs. Michael, I'm happy to field that, or if you'd like to jump in and speak to how we engage our friends in venture development. I know Nick is also with us today via our virtual community.
Yeah, I'll just say a couple of things. I think you triggered it a little bit there. We have a number of ways in to work with Invest Ottawa. The thing that's great about the projects we're running is these are kind of the culmination of a whole bunch of engagements. So the reason that we have Auto Guardian and RideShark involved with us, because we're already involved with them. We know what they can do, and they added value specifically to the mission of the project. So I'd encourage anybody who's out there that has an interest in our programming is to get involved in a pre-accelerator program, get involved with our coaches and mentors. We have lots of companies. I think we have 60 companies now that are benefiting from our scale up program. By engaging with Invest Ottawa, we'll watch out and determine opportunities for growth. I mentioned earlier that we're looking for between 4 and 8 of these projects a year. I think that's all we can kind of handle at this point. Because we want them to be high quality and we want them to be engaging. So I would say the entry point is be engaged with us. Be involved with our programming. This is how we select partners, because there's trust and there's a knowledge and an understanding, and it allows us to build from there.
And we're such an integrated community. Investottawa.ca, areax.o.com. Michael, myself, Nick Wayne, who's in chat, we'd be delighted to help any SME, startup, or scale up that is looking to get engaged in these particular types of projects, just as we've done with Tennille and with Sharon. Another.
Can I say something?
Oh, sorry, go right ahead, Tennille.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, not only is it beneficial to a company that maybe is even already engaged, it's a great story that we have, and that the parent company to Auto Guardian, Smart Cone Technologies, is the one that really had started with Invest Ottawa, and they've been with them every step of the way and really helped to drive the success of a first subsidiary, which is why I'm here today. So it's very exciting that it's not only SME driven, but it really helps you branch out and grow your company and go global. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Tennille. Another question with respect to the objective of this research and development project: how is Invest Ottawa going to approach it? Are we running a research database, or will it be developed over the course of the testing of the ride share system? So maybe that's one that, Michael, you can kick off with respect to the survey that we have put in place with Transport Canada, and then Sharon on the RideShark side.
Yeah, we're collecting data along the way. We've been doing some of it already through the first 3 phases, but of course the next phase is critical in capturing not only data off sensors, but also quantitatively and then qualitatively by just doing surveys with the riders. So we are going to be pulling it, and I guess going from there.
Excellent, Jim. I don't know if you have anything further you'd like to add.
Yes, from our perspective, I think this has been a terrific opportunity. It's really because our platform is custom branded to all customers. This has really been the first opportunity we've ever had to showcase our technology as RideShark rather than branded under something else. So we see this as really something that we can leapfrog into a lot of other different opportunities globally. So it's been fantastic.
Excellent. I'm cognizant of time. I'm going to get to two last questions. And then, of course, we are always here to engage on social media and through Facebook Live as well. From my friend Barry Kirk with us from CAVCO, the minister said that this will reshape how people get around. How can we help the City of Ottawa prepare for the deployment of shuttles and CAVs in general in larger volume through to 2030? And I think that I'd love to hear from our friends at Transport Canada, who are really guiding the legislation on this front. And then, of course, from our friend Greg, who represents the city today. Lots of leadership demonstrated from both levels of government just through this project alone, of course. Jim.
Well, thanks, Sonia, and it's a great question by Barry. And as Barry will know, and others hopefully have gone through Transport Canada's website, we have a fair bit of guidance material already online. The safety framework for automated connected vehicles, a safety assessment for automated driving systems in Canada, guidelines for trial organizations on how you actually deploy these things. These are the tools, along with MTO's tools in Ontario, that we're using to try to help shape and guide these deployments. And it's through the successful deployments that we will start being able to scale these things up in greater volumes. So I encourage everyone to go on to Transport Canada's site and go through the AVEN and the MTO sites as well to find the information on how to run one of these deployments, and hopefully we'll see more of them soon. As Michael, I believe, mentioned, there are a few in the Toronto area that are teed up for next year. So we're starting to see more of them across Ontario, across Canada, and looking forward to seeing the results of those trials as well.
Greg, any insights on behalf of City?
Yes, thanks, Sonia. It's a great opportunity. Thanks for the question, Barry. What you do with CAVCO is excellent. It's sharing information and bringing information in so that all the partners can converse on the same industry issues. And that is significant in terms of us developing the city network to accommodate CAV applications. We need to know who the partners are out there or what technologies are out there so we can bring them together and bring them into these projects. And a good example, and Michael mentioned one of the challenges and the successes is being able to react to situations. And with COVID and trying to get people onto the shuttle as part of this test project, we recognized that Sharon's company at RideShark was there and was available. And we need to know things, who's available out there. And Sharon was a great example of bringing in her technology to match up her technology to get people onto the shuttle. So there's all these little background pieces, these little patches of material that we need to stitch together to make this mobility quilt. And it's just an excellent opportunity. So Barry, continue to do what you do with CAVCO and bring partners together and share information.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm going to try and squeeze in one last question from Dimple, who joins us, I believe, from Ericsson, with respect to whether or not there's a plan for a doors open style of engagement with the public that would complement the virtual platforms. And I see Michael is smiling because we've worked so closely with Ottawa Public Health to ensure the health and safety of our community during this particular project. Michael, I'm going to hand over to you to maybe share some additional insight.
Yeah, I would say that that's certainly our goal, is to be able to showcase this to the public. We would do this in a very organized fashion, of course, because what makes Area X.0 in particular exciting is when exciting things are going on project-wise. So just opening it up, and it's a barn that's been renovated, which is nice, and a bunch of roadways, which is also nice. But having the ability to have companies showcasing what they're doing is really an important facet of what happens there. Different than coming to see Baby Yards, which has all kinds of things you can walk around and see, and I'm sure other locations in Ottawa. So our goal would be, when we're on the other side of the pandemic, where we could actually have a more immersive way of doing it, that we would actually take advantage of that for the Area X.0 site. It actually creates a bit of a complexity because we have to, it is a gated area, so we'd have to do that in a very controlled way, but it is certainly something we will do in the future.
when it is safe to do so. We want our whole city, our province, and our country to really experience the incredible innovation coming out of Canada's CAV capital together with so many partners. I would like to extend sincere thanks to all of our esteemed panelists. It's been an absolute privilege to collaborate with all of you, not just on this project, but through so many other parts of what we do at Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. Thank you to all of our participants, to the many partners, public sector and private sector, who make Area X.O possible. Projects such as this and Area X.O more broadly are also an intensive collaboration inside our organization that bring together all of our teams, our venture development, global expansion, talent, our corporate services, Bayview Yards prototyping lab, and of course, the marketing and communications team I am so proud to be supporting. So thank you to everyone who made this possible. We have many firsts to share with you coming up just in the next few weeks alone. We are not done. We are just getting started here at Area X.O and in Canada's capital. I think that these milestones and the work we do together truly underscores our capabilities as a global tech hub here in Ottawa, the great capabilities that Ontario and Canada can bring to bear with us on the world in the future of public transportation. Thank you for joining us today. We will share the recording in extensive social media and watch for CAV Canada, our flagship conference, starting on November 25th. Thank you all for being with us. Stay safe.
The world needs Ottawa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.